Danes is most delicious. Tis this morning, and may I say we're honoured to have a gentleman with us, a wizard with us, with an astonishing knowledge around trees, and for us to be learning from. Good morning, young man.
Good morning, Tiz. Good morning. How are you?
Most delicious.
Most delicious.
And first, got many questions. First one, when were you first drawn to trees? Did you love them when you were young?
Yes. Look, I mean, as a young person, and I suppose my earliest memories would probably be about 3 or 4.
Yes.
Climbing trees to escape relatives.
How wonderful.
People were coming over and Mum would find me up a tree and say, "You've got to come down because your auntie's here." And I'm up the top of a tree, sort of, "I can't.
Come and get me."
That's what, if you can, come and get me, come and get me. I mean, I really do remember that. I remember sort of scaling we had the old sort of outhouse and the laundry, and I remember sort of scaling the water tower. It wasn't a very big one, but I remember scaling those sort of things. And I liked the idea of the height, I liked the idea of the freedom, I liked the idea of space, I liked the idea of being able to see. Just see what's around you rather than... I mean, but conversely, I used to like sort of lying in the dirt and watching ants.
Yes,
and seeing what they do.
Absolutely, yes.
So on one aspect, you feel like the ant when you're up high and there's everything else is around you. And other aspects, you feel like you're looking at the ants and thinking, I wonder what's going on in their lives.
Well, I was standing at my most favouriteest tree just t'other day, and at my level, say 5 foot, there were these ants on the tree, and I thought, they've climbed Mount Everest.
Absolutely, and they do it daily.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when did you begin to interact with the trees with
And as an adult?
Yeah.
I mean, to get myself through uni in my younger days, I was doing sort of landscapey type gardening, type mowing, type handyman sort of stuff. The things you do as a uni student.
To make a quid.
Yes. And to get by, and things I could do. And I've always wanted to work outdoors. And then after I finished preschool teaching, I did that for 17, 18 years.
Yes.
I then sort of thought, there must be something else I could do. So I really sort of thought, maybe I'll go back to what I was doing before in a minor sort of way and just look as a bit of a stepping stone to, I don't know what else is out there. And as I was doing people's gardens and walking around the place, and people sort of started asking me questions, what's that tree? Or what's going on here? What's that mean? Or can you reach that branch? Or why is that happening?
Yes,
and I thought, why is that happening? What is going on here? Now, what does deciduous mean? What does sort of, native mean? What does, a significant tree mean? So I started looking at this more and more. And lo and behold, I found myself, it's now my 29th year.
Yes.
And I've just found myself sort of like becoming more and more passionate about trees. It's no longer just simply, can we chop and chip a tree? It's not about that at all. It's about sort of like respecting and understanding.
Oh, you must have this extraordinary knowledge of not only about the tree that you're looking, but its age, its expected age, and how to approach the care of it for all time.
Yes. So you're looking at the tree in at various levels. So maybe a young tree, and then you try and work out, what's its lifespan. Being
10 years old.
10 years old, and maybe in some trees in 10 years, some trees may be 30 feet, some trees may be 5 feet.
Oh.
So different trees will grow at different rates.
So how do you read the age?
Age you don't necessarily read. You need to know the species. So you would say, okay, this is a wattle, for example, and it is about 15, 20 feet tall, so therefore it's probably reached maturity.
Yes.
But I mean, I remember in my early days, I was really badly tricked. And I'm sort of, yes, I know trees, and I was sprouting things on, and I knew everything about trees. And I went down to Falconbridge and I had a look at this lovely, whopping big blue gum. a big tree, and I'm looking at it thinking,
and
well, this.
They are a stunning tree.
Oh, it's a huge tree. It's huge. It's not necessarily something we have in the mountains per se. We have mountain ashes and things like that, but this was a tree that it was just big, and I thought I equated big with age. So therefore, it was a big tree. So it must be. Oh, look, it would have been before Jesus. This tree, absolutely. And I was dead right. And the owner sort of looked at me and sort of said, "Oh yes, we planted that in 1972." And I'm thinking, oh my God, absolutely caught with my pants around my ankles.
Yeah.
And so it made me realise more and more that we as people, we assume things about trees. We assume size means age, or we assume that this is a problem, or we assume that every tree is out to get us. You know, every tree is a widowmaker.
Okay.
You know? So these assumptions that we tend to have as people are based on either just not knowing, or we sort of get scared by reports or media reports or things like that saying, you know, every tree is out to get you, or every tree is happening, or just informed people coming to give you information who may not necessarily have the right information.
Oh.
You know, yes, so they're sort of telling you things like, oh, this tree is dangerous and I can fix it for you today with my chipper and my chopper and my, you know, let's get rid of it. Let's solve that problem.
Oh, so you're suggesting, what's being suggested here is if you want to understand your garden, for example,
yes,
invite George, the tree surgeon, invite someone who's got proper knowledge and have a chat first.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I always say, look, it's really, really important when you sort of like try and get a diagnosis of what's happening, or try and get an understanding of what's happening before you reach for the chainsaw. Reaching for the chainsaw should be the last solution. Before you reach for the chainsaw, try and find out, are there ways that we can work with this tree? Well, what are the problems with the trees?
Beautiful.
So what I will say to people, look, you know, the first visit from me is free. I will come out, I will discuss your garden, I'll discuss the trees as I see them, I'll look at the trees, I'll diagnose if there's any problems, I'll suggest things that we can do, we can plan a management strategy if we need to.
That one?
Yep.
That must be really important.
It is really important because it gives people a sense of being part of what the solution is.
And learning,
They're learning themselves. And so we're trying to find a way that people can actually be more informed and less scared. So they're not scared of trees. They're not scared of what they're seeing.
Or inventing ideas that they don't know about.
That's right. I mean, look, unfortunately, like in many industries, many services, there are always wives' tales. There are always things that are misnomers that have just been public law. You know, that we sort of it's just been handed down from generation to generation. It's simply not true.
So, I'm living in a home with a good, decent-sized garden. I'm beginning to think it could be really important to invite you just to have a look and give me some guidance.
Yes.
Around the garden.
Yep.
And it's having respect for the garden as a whole, isn't it? And
that's exactly the garden as a whole. So we're looking at this. Well, I really look at this as an entirety. So you will have native plants, you'll have deciduous plants, you'll have evergreens, you'll have fruit bearing. You may have just ornamentals, you know, and then trying to find out what are your passions in your garden. What does your garden mean to you?
That's beautiful.
Because I mean, some gardens for some people are concrete jungles, and they love that. Their outdoor space is concrete. Great, fantastic. You know, that's wonderful. What you want. That's low maintenance. It's easy to do. All you can do is paint the lawn, inverted commas. You know. But other people have this eclectic mix of things that they sort of like they've inherited. They don't quite know what they are. They don't quite know what I could do with it. Oh, I thought this was going to be sort of like 6 foot tall, and it's now 60 foot tall. What do I do? Oh, I don't like the colour purple. I thought it was going to be green. You know.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's so many different ways of actually looking at your garden and understanding whether it's to do with light aspects, whether it's to do with the aesthetics of the garden, whether it's to do with
light aspects.
Yes. Yes.
And approaching it so that they are happy and the garden is happy too.
For me, it's a two-way relationship. The garden's got to be happy with you, as you've got to be happy with the garden.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a healthy garden is a loved garden. So if people have got a garden that's actually sort of it's showing care, is showing, and that's not vicious pruning. That is not sort of milly-molly mandy, everything's into sort of like weeping whales and dancing angels. That's more about control. I look at the gardens and sort of say, well, what sort of areas have you got? How is the garden laid out? Does it look like there's various rooms, different corridors to go down? And what's behind here? Oh, look at that. I haven't seen one of those. Well, I've never seen one of those in that position.
And probably most of the gardens are badly organised in. People chuck stuff in, they plant stuff without much thought.
Yes, that opens a whole can of worms.
Particularly as of the older gardens in particular.
Yes, and also not really appreciating what space do individual trees need, or in relation to other trees, in relation to other plantings, in relation to aspects. So people will put their tall trees on the northern side. And you think, well, you're just going to block out all your lights in 20, 30 years' time, and then you're going to call some chopper guy to come and chop it all down. And I'm thinking, because it's been badly placed, or placed without thought, not necessarily because it's a bad tree. So I'm trying to get people to think about not just the aspect of that trees are a problem. People create the problem.
Yes. So there should be a class for everybody who's about to buy a property. They should get some knowledge first around how to approach, because the garden is such an essential part.
It is an essential part
of me feeling good inside my home.
Yep. And we look at things. I mean, one of the classics we would have in the mountains that people might recognise is, Paul Sorensen gardens. If we look at the Paul Sorensen garden, they're well planned, they're well thought out, they're well considered. So we look at things like, where is your aspects? What are your soils? What are the runoffs? What's going to impact on my neighbours? So it's not going to be a problem in 20, 30, 40 years' time that I've actually shaded out my neighbour completely, and then we're going to have World War III between the two of us.
But you've mentioned 4 really important aspects I've never given any thought to, really.
Yes, and these are just automatic things that should be thought about. I mean, people are starting to call me in more and more now to actually start looking at garden planning or garden designing, or particularly tree locations. Not necessarily, where do your azaleas go, or where do your rose bushes go, but more to do with the tree side of things. And what would
your Ents, your giants.
Yes, your big ones. And I look, to be honest, the little ones don't really excite me that much. It's the big ones, and I'm not talking about the monsters, 300 footers. I'm talking about trees.
And in amongst all of that, because of where we are up here, and we started establishing ourselves here in the 1700s, so you must meet an extraordinary range of ages of trees and different types of trees. And that must require different knowledge in each case?
It does to a degree. Trees are like people. We're all Homo sapiens. We've all got arms, legs, eyes, lungs, tummies, bums, whatever else. Yeah. We've got all the same little bits. But we can sort of, what happens with our outside package may change a little tiny bit, the way we actually look. But all the functional parts are still the same. The trees are the same. Yes. Trees are the same. I mean, I can bog down with lots of different sort of terminologies, but I always look at trees as being basically 4 parts. I mean, if you look at heartwood, sapwood, cambium bark, or else you say bones, muscle, veins, skin. But I think by helping people to understand that the trees are similar in the way that we look at ourselves,
In the centre of which somewhere there is their core, is their energy.
Absolutely. So, this notion that...
And it goes... It's an extraordinary range that the energy covers, both above and below ground, and how it manages its heat system.
Trees are very, very unique. Very unique in the sense that they are self-optimising.
Which means
that they'll do the best they can in the spot they're in. They can't pick themselves up and move them 6 feet to the left because somebody's planted something else, or somebody's built a building there, or somebody's decided to put a swimming pool in there.
Well, they don't like the people that own them.
That's exactly right. So, and trees are without borders. So trees aren't going to
Yes.
sort of say, oh, I've been planted here on property number 12. I can only stay here on property number 12. My roots are going to go into number 14.
Yes.
My shade is going to go into number 16.
Yes.
My leaves that fall off in winter are going to go across 4 different houses. So
Yes.
but trees don't understand that.
No.
So we need to try and help people to understand that trees are unique in themselves and aren't
beautiful.
going to be confined to sort of property boundaries and people's expectations. I think that's really important.
There is so much to consider, and so what would be the oldest tree that you've ever met, do you think?
Okay, this is second hand to me, but I do know the tree. The tree is now unfortunately gone. The tree was cleared as part of the road widening at the Bullaborough-Lawson area.
Cleared, you mean chopped down?
Chopped down by the departments that needed to widen the highway. Right? It was chopped down and removed, and they had a guru, which I'm sorry I don't know the name of the person, was a guru who came up from Sydney and estimated the tree to be over 400 years.
And I was learning just recently that in Ireland they have a tree that they consider to be so sacred that wherever it's growing, it's never cut down. And if that means making the road go around the tree, they do.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and
Yes.
of course that should have happened.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, it's sort of like, we need to, we as people need to have straight lines or a clear direction, or whatever's in the way, get out of the way. And I think, whoa, that's not what I'm after. Yeah.
And so when you meet a tree and you're caring for that tree, you're really sculpting in a way, are you not? Allowing it to grow beautifully but keeping it healthy. Is it like sculpting?
Look, if a tree is appropriately planted, if it's been considered to be the right one for that place, the tree should be able to be left alone.
Oh.
Sculpting, rearranging, pruning, shaping, manipulating are all human constraints.
Oh, and so pruning's not that's surprising to me.
No, pruning is not an automatic thing that should be reached for. I had a person just recently saying to me that by pruning the trees grow healthier.
That's
And I
what I thought.
absolutely. So most people do think that. But pruning does not necessarily relate directly to health. We may prune if we're removing a dangerous branch, a diseased branch. We may prune if we're taking off dead wood that may fall on somebody. But we're not pruning to simply enhance growth.
So that's an old-fashioned mythology that's
It
been
is,
passed down.
and it's also a fear. If we had the right tree in the right place, we don't need to prune in the first place. Right? Pruning is something very much is a human constraint, is something that is basically for us to feel either better about ourselves so we don't feel scared, or we've got this false information that it's going to be healthier, or if my tree is sick, so I pruned it. That'd be like you going to the doctor with a cold
and having your arm cut
and
off.
having your arm cut off. Exactly right. And then saying, I've still got the cold,
Yeah.
but now I've got one less arm.
Yeah.
So how does that help you feel better? I go to a property, to a place where a tree is, and I'll look at what the tree is telling me. The tree might be telling me that it's sad, it's happy, it enjoys the space it wants to be in.
So you're listening to your senses.
Yes, I try to. I mean, I'm not trying to sound airy-fairy, but I'm trying to look at the body language of the tree.
Yes.
I'm trying to get an understanding of what the tree is telling me. If it's growing on a lean to get away from a bully next door, or if it's been badly chopped in the past and it's sort of weeping and oozing and carrying on. And it's hurting. You can see it's hurting. Or I might find a tree that the leaves are just looking very discolorous, or they're looking sort of limp, they're looking sort of pale. Yes. Then you know that it needs some sort of TLC from the ground up.
Yes.
So these are all sort of things that the tree will actually tell you a lot of information, but you've got to be able to understand it.
Is it a mythology too that the root of the tree expands as deep as the height of the tree, and that the root of the tree also expands to the umbrella of the tree, or
more so the umbrella of the tree? The notion that a tree has a taproot is earthy. Trees will generally have a taproot at the very, very beginning, the first single root to come out and take hold.
To keep the stability.
At least to establish stability, to establish location. I am here, no one's going to take my spot. Thank you very much. I'm not going to be washed away and blown away or be trodden on. Thank you very much. Then they will start spreading their roots out to the sides. So I always imagine a tree to be a little bit like if you grabbed an octopus by the head and held it up so its tentacles are dangling down and dropped it on a tiled floor. Its legs just goes splay out everywhere. Okay? That's the sort of thing that a tree will do, because what it needs to do is it can't be too far under the ground. It needs to be under the ground. The roots need to be underground enough to be stable. They need to be underground enough to be able to actually get moisture from the top, from the rainwater and wherever the water is coming from. And they need to be enough down to be able to actually have all the permeation of nutrients coming down through mulch and through dead bodies and poo from koalas in the tree, whatever.
Yeah.
So these sort of things need to permeate.
And so the tree is the root of the tree is extraordinarily aware of whatever is surrounding it, and that it's how necessary that root is to read and absorb the essential health.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
That's beautiful. So that the root is very porous.
Well, it's porous in a way that, I mean, there are different parts of the root. So you'll get different aspects of it. So around the initial tree, you'll find the structural root zone. And that's the root zone that's designed to be thick and solid and hold the tree up.
Yes.
That's the footing that it's got in the ground.
The base.
The
foundation.
The foundation, thank you.
Yeah.
From that, I like to think the next set of roots are the scaffolding roots. So you have one structural root zone, and then it will break into, say, 4, 5, 6, 7 scaffolding roots. And they're the ones that will actually extend the root base further out. And then finally, you'll find the very fine root hairs, the absorbing roots. And they're finer than the hair on your head.
Oh,
so they need to be protected. So they're the ones that people tend to chop off. They're the ones that people tend to sort of like mow over. Yes, but they're a little bit further down in the ground, or they'll dig another plant straight into it, or they're the ones they chop off when they're putting their swimming pool or tennis court.
Don't mow over, go round.
Go round.
And also in amongst that, what I delight in is the mosses. And the little fungi that gather around the root system doing their job too, is that right?
A lot of trees will have a symbiotic relationship with various fungi, which are unique to that tree and unique to that fungi. So the two of them need each other.
And go on.
I was going to say one helps the other to grow and the other one helps protect the first one. So they're working together harmoniously. They're working together with importance. And if you have one without the other, they're never quite the same.
And so these exquisite, tiny little green fairy gatherings we call moss, and this extraordinarily large tree with root system and their intelligence to work together.
Look, I mean, that is also, I mean, that is a human constraint, and I'm not saying that it's not, I mean, it's a human concept.
Yes.
Because it's very difficult to prove a sort of a loving relationship. But the fact that it's there, the fact that it works, the fact that everybody gets on, they're not killing each other. They're not trying to upset each other.
They ain't having a war.
No, they're not having a war.
Yeah.
There's enough pathogens in the ground, in the air, around the place that trees have to try and deal with anyway. So when they have a good relationship, they will maintain it.
And is it not correct too that there are trees that as they grow, they will, and they touch another tree, their branches, they'll cease to grow in that direction?
No, that's not necessarily true at all. You'll often find that there are trees who are particularly more easygoing. I tend to find Australian trees by nature, all right, so the mountains trees, the native trees, tend to be sort of like Australian. She'll be right, mate. Oh, the ground's going to be a bit rocky. Oh, it's a bit hard. Oh, there's somebody there. I can't get my root to go that way. Oh, look, mate, she'll be right. I'll just turn and go another way. Let's not fuss over it. Let's have a beer. We'll be fine. We'll get on. Some of the European trees and things like you might find Saphractis, ash, your elms, liquid ambers in particularly. They will literally, if I want to go in that direction, I'll go through your driveway, your pergola, your spa, your swimming pool. I'll go through it.
By the way, move aside.
Move aside. I'm going through it.
Oh,
so it's interesting how the different groups of trees respond differently.
The different nationalities.
Well, yes,
isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. This is the most exquisite conversation, and we're dancing. My feeling, and you probably won't agree, but we're dancing in the Middle Earth a little bit, I think. And please do stay tuned. This is a beautiful, deeper than beautiful. This is really excellent knowledge for those of you who have trees in your charge, and how you can care for them with more awareness than you may have ever thought. And certainly I've been one of those who've taken for granted. Please stay tuned, this is most wonderful. Aware, tender, true conversation that we're having around the heart of the garden, and in that way the heart of us too, because we all flourish. When nature is around us and it's healthy, we also flourish from it. The lovely George is here. He's a tree surgeon. I'm asking, do you know the famous guitarist Brian May, who played music with Queen?
Yes.
He's now an astrophysicist.
Yes.
His recent question was, what is the rarest thing that we have tangible thing that we have on this planet, which is thus far not any other planet in the Milky Way?
Wow.
Trees.
Okay.
And I thought, and imagine there's a trillion birds, not to mention butterflies and flies and moths, that land on trees every day and nest and hide and seek comfort on trees' branches. What trees do for us.
Yes. I mean, trees are more than just the tree itself. The tree is a giver of life. It is a protector of life. It is a
playground.
Yes.
It builds our houses. It makes our pencils. It gives us fire.
Yes. All of that sort of stuff.
You cannot go anywhere on a day's wander, I'm suggesting, and a desk, and not see something that's not part of the tree family.
Yes, exactly right.
Wow.
So we have learned
used to even make cars. They were called woodies.
Oh, there you go, with the panelling down the sides.
Yeah.
Yes. So it makes me think of the Beach Boys, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the relationship that we have with trees, to a large degree, has been take. And what we're talking about is furniture, is cars, is all of these things that we've utilised trees for, but without necessarily giving them the respect back to sort of say, thank you, trees. Thank you for what it is. And I'm not trying to be sort of like, I'm not trying to be sort of pedantic or silly or anything like that. It really is acknowledging that this is a different species to us, and just because we are people doesn't necessarily mean we have control over everything else.
There's a gentleman who recently wrote a book called The Secret Life of Trees, and he lived for 40 years in a forest in Germany, and there was a big tree trunk. He thought it was a 1,000-year-old tree trunk, and he thought was dead, till he had a close look, still the root system talking to other trees, etc. So, what you're saying is deeply affects us all. Our children and our children's children.
That's exactly right. I mean, trees have a different... not all species. Some species are very fast, and the nursery trees will grow up and grow down and quickly take a space where a space is available. But some of the majestic trees, their longevity, their right to be here, the impact that it's going to have on many generations of people. Once the person who planted it is gone, their great-great-great-greats are going to be able to explore that and have that sort of connection to sort of say, my grandfather, my grandmother, my great-great so-and-so planted this with some knowledge of what's going to happen in the future. Often we'll get people who actually say, I want to plant a tree in memorandum. I want to plant a tree
Yes.
in memory of somebody. What is a good tree?
Oh,
and I say,
yes.
tell me about the person. Tell me about the person that you're trying to plant the tree for.
Oh, that is very beautiful.
Is it something that you want long lasting? Is it something that you want? Were they a showy person? Did they want lots of blooms? Were they a protective, caring type person? Did they want lots of animal life in their canopy? Tell me about the person.
How beautiful that
to really
is.
to be able to explore that with the client is a way of actually trying to get them to understand trees better. So we sort of think, I'm going to get the right tree to match this person, to match this space. So we don't come back in 20 years and go, oh yeah, well they're gone now, we'll chop it down.
But you're talking about us coming to the awareness of having honour.
Yes.
Around
absolutely
these extraordinary beings.
Yes. And giving them the honour that they deserve.
And so you must be continually, so how long, now you've been in this for 20 odd years, you must be continually learning.
Oh, look. And
are they teaching you?
Yes, they are teaching me. They are teaching me. The initial conversations that you have with trees are to do with more, what are they feeling? What are they doing? We talked about before, what are the leaves showing you? What's the bark showing you? How's previous management practices, good, bad, or in between? What's the impact has it had? But their ability to be able to interact with each other, to be able to maintain their own dignity in their own right.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And look, I have to admit, when I started doing trees per se, I thought trees was a business commodity. Trees were as a chip, chop. It was either firewood or mulch. What else is there? Firewood or mulch, that's it.
We're brutes. We're just brutes.
We are brutes. We are brutes. I turned 60 a number of years ago, and I thought, look, I have the right to be cantankerous and old and crotchety. But I also have the right to sort of put my hand up and say, I don't know enough. I want to learn more.
Yeah.
And there's so much more that you can learn now.
Yeah.
There's so many fascinating aspects. So you can either learn the scientific aspect, you can learn the metaphysical aspect, you can learn about the woodworking, the furniture and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, knowledge should not stop.
Oh,
and it doesn't.
You've lit my heart up, and it's singing and dancing, really.
Yeah.
My final question to you is since we are now, this is more specific, coming into winter, or winter is here, what do you advise us to be out and wandering around in amongst our trees? How should we be addressing and caring for our trees as winter's coming on? Do we need to keep the root systems warm with leaf or?
No. A well-mulched tree. So mulching is important for trees, summer, winter, whichever season you're talking about.
Can I interrupt? In mulching, where do we get the mulch from?
Look, there is a free site operating in the mountains, and it's one of the type of free cycle sites. I think it's on Facebook, and there's quite a few of the reputable tree people will say, look, I've got some mulch here inside. I've got this amount in this suburb. Who would like some? In our organisation, people ring up, and I have got quite an extensive list, and I'll look for the next person free. So the way that we run is that essentially 99.9% of all tree material that we generate is recycled.
Yes.
Whether it is firewood or mulch.
How wonderful.
So it's being reused for somebody else's use, The only thing I won't do is weed trees in seed or palm trees. So anything that's a weed tree that can then actually, I'm not going to put privet seeds in the mulch and then give it to somebody else and say, here, cop a load of this. Yep. So generally those sort of things aren't there.
So what are we doing?
So we're mulching. So if you've already had a well-mulched soil and well-maintained soil, the tree will look after itself. It's basically, deciduous trees are basically going to sleep. They're basically having their rest.
They're meditating, I reckon.
Exactly. They're reflecting on the last year. How did I cope? What's up ahead of me?
Yes.
What's going on? What should I be thinking about?
Can I ask you this? Do you think the trees read the change of seasons very quickly, or do you read Do the trees tell you when winter's coming as opposed to a calendar?
Very much so. But the interesting thing is, and that's a very interesting point, I would say, so when I first started, I was more becoming aware of this type of thing, that our seasons and our seasonality and our climates were more defined. So we did have a summer, we did have a winter, we did have a spring, we did have an autumn. Now I'm finding things are blending more. So we may get funny flowerings at an unusual time. We may get, seeds coming on, another flush of colour, and you think,
yes.
No, you're supposed to be asleep.
You're supposed to be spring and it's halfway through winter.
That's exactly right. And so I think trees are getting confused. And I think they're becoming more and more confused as we, as people, are altering climate.
Well, the Aboriginals do recognise 5 or 6 seasons as opposed to 4.
That's a lovely way of thinking about it.
Yeah, and because I'm suggesting, and of course I don't know anything, is that my notion is that nature has read climate change more quickly than we.
Yes.
And is adapting.
It is adapting. And we're going through the throes of adaptation.
Yes.
So I'm seeing different pathogens that I saw before in different locations. And I'm seeing different reactions to trees.
What do you mean by that?
Well, trees are, as I said before, either they're putting on a strange flowering, or they're budding too early, or they're budding too late, or
both.
Or trees used to sort of say, for example, put their leaves out once a pathogen had basically died off. But they're putting their leaves out too early and the pathogen's still around, and so the pathogen's now got a free feast. The trees are struggling with things like that. So where things had their own sort of sense of sync, things are out of sync.
And so this change that's taking place, the trees are having to be sharper or respond more quickly to...
Well, it's Darwinism, isn't it? Those that can adapt will, and those that won't.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is that sort of stuff happening.
And so across the mountains, is there different, for example, from Lithgow to here, are there different gatherings of trees or in species?
Very much so. Very much so. You will see if you divide the mountain into 3 parts. If you look at the lower mountains, mid mountains, upper mountains.
So it's about height.
It could be about height. It could be about soil types. It could be about rainfall. It could be about temperature. It could be about all sorts of different things. That it's not just we assume elevation because we're going higher. Doesn't mean the trees are.
But there's so much more to take into account.
Absolutely, taking these sort of things into account. And once you become aware of different sort of dietary needs, different environmental needs, different types of weather needs. Some trees are very good in strong winds. Other trees fall apart as soon as you get a puff of wind. So these sort of things.
That's stunning. Go on.
Yeah. So climate plays a big part. The everyday weather plays a big part. The average temperature, the average overnight temperature, the soil temperature plays a part.
But you're saying everyday temperature. I would never have thought about that. Yeah. But how powerful that is.
Yes. I mean, we as people, we can move around. We get too hot, we go and jump in the air conditioning. We jump in the swimming pool. If we get too cold, we put a coat on. We put 2 coats on. We put 3 coats on. And how long does it take to put a coat on?
Or we chop a tree down and light a fire.
Or we chop a tree down and light a fire.
Yeah.
But I mean, we are able to adapt to our immediate needs instantly. Trees can't.
And not to mention, one of the most astonishing things that trees do is they provide us with the timber to make exquisite musical instruments.
Absolutely. I mean, timber has been one of these probably the most commonly used versatile product, more so than I would say than metal, and more so than I would say than some of the other organic things, because it's solid, it's hard, it's resinous, it's interesting, it's exciting. You talk to a good woodworker when they see a raw piece of wood, because we often have woodworkers turning up to, so can I have a piece of that?
Yeah.
Can you save me some so I can turn it? Or we have had people who are making sort of, I don't know what the common name for a guitar-shaped instrument is, but we have those sort of
pear-shaped.
Yes, wanting to make something a bit more interesting out of it, or even just wanting to make some children's toys or men's sheds materials.
And this my other question, amongst those that we have yet to talk about, but I'm becoming more aware every day of the extraordinariness of trees. If I see a piece of timber in a home, for example, a beam, or a table that's, say, 50 years old, how is it that timber still has this extraordinary shine to it? That does it have in its central energy systems and oil? How does it retain its shine? Why doesn't it deteriorate? And
trees, trees that you would find in nature do deteriorate.
Yes.
There are saprophytic fungi and things like that which help to compost it. Otherwise, we would be 20 foot deep in dead trees everywhere. So we need those sort of things to break it down, which in turn make mulch, which in turn feed the microorganisms, which in turn feed the fungi.
Keep the world going around.
And keep the world going around. The furniture, when you see a genuinely stunning piece of furniture, one, it's probably been very well cared for, and two, it was probably made at a time when woodworking was valued. It's not all flat packed. It's not all chipboard. So we're looking. You're probably talking about woods and furniture that become part of the soul.
That's very beautiful, young man. Look, there's so many. You must return, or else I'll send the cops over. Thank you for a very beautiful conversation, I've got so many questions to keep asking you. However, time tears upon us. Please, a website for you.
Well, if you look up the Tree Surgeon Professionals, that's who I am, and I'm based in Lawson. I only work in the mountains. So I'm easy to find. I'm in the Gazette. I've got a Facebooky thing.
Thingies,
all the socially hoo-has, whatnots.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've
got somebody else helping me look after those. I look after trees. I don't know computers that well. So, but I'm around. The easiest place to find me, if you're not sure, just look in the back of the Gazette. And
also that notion of you may not need someone to help you fix a tree at the moment, but it sounds important for you to invite George to come and have a look at your garden and just get some advice from one who has his feet firmly planted in amongst the roots of trees too, with the years of knowledge. And isn't that important?
Very happy to help.
Most wonderful young man. Was that not extraordinary, darlings? Please do stay tuned.